Hello. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's all right. Everything's okay here. Well, what a afternoon. I was waiting for a big armoire that is here. And here is the third floor. And they got here with the armoire, which was way too big for any way to put it up here. And so I they weren't, when it doesn't fit and they can't get it up through regular stairs, they usually, what they do is they dump it in front of your house and say, hey, it's here. So it's now up to you to do whatever you want. But the two guys that were here were very, very nice. And so the guy said, look, we don't usually do this, but, for $50, we're going to actually take the armoire and bring it up through your balcony on the third floor, which was okay. Why not? You got to do what you got to do, which was an amazing story. So the day today is like that. We attempted to record the International Radio Report, but Skype has this weird way of muting the audio when you play with the volumes. So we're going to have another way of doing it tonight through all of this. And of course, there should be an International Radio Report show on Sunday morning that will have been pre-recorded Friday night. So, hey, everybody. I still am all kind of not there. I was supposed to go get beer, which I never had time to go and get. So, hey, hello, everybody. Try to relax. I've got vodka and orange juice, so cheers, everyone. Hope everybody's all right. And today we'll tune the bands a little more. I actually also, I forgot to mention the other important thing. Is while the armoire is bringing up, that also meant that I had to take down my loops. So I had to take down the two MLA30s for that to happen. And with all that happened, I just actually put them back up very temporarily on the balcony outside just 20 minutes ago to be able to listen to something on the radio. So, anyways, believe it or not, it's 16 degrees Celsius right now indoor. 16. It's really, really, we're in the 60s. It's like I put the antennas outside and I was like, wow, this is so beautiful weather, but it's extremely windy. So, yeah, 16 degrees Celsius right now in Montreal today. Of course, it's going to dip to minus 10 tonight, but that's another story. That's Montreal, actually. So, hey, everybody, welcome aboard. Hope everybody's safe with all that's happening around the world. And that all of you are fine. And basically, here it's, Montreal's pretty much a shutdown city. Very little, of anything that is open. I found one restaurant yesterday to go eat, which was Nichols. And I actually went out and ate something, had a beer, because it was like the only thing that was open in almost everywhere around me. So we listen to the radio in these times. We are live twice a week. This is the Shortwave show, of course. We are live twice a week. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 0 hours UTC. Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, at 1 p.m. Pacific, at 20 UTC. And of course, we have a beautiful chat room if you want to enjoy and share with others. We also have a great Facebook group that people just enjoy and love and are happy and proud to be part of, where we respect each other, listen to the radio, talk about radio. It's just a lot of fun, honestly. And we have a great time there. So when the show ends here, you can go into the Facebook group, continue sharing about radio, pictures, videos of what you're listening to, questions, and all sorts of things. It's really, really cool. So it has the same name as the channel here, official SWL channel. And I hope everybody's fine. Mark Cope, nice to have you here from Dallas, Texas. Bobby Burgess from Morgan City, Louisiana. Liam Conlon, nice to have you here. Tony Sima, nice to have you on board from Philadelphia, Jersey side of Philadelphia, 81 degrees. No wonder here, it's like almost 70, so not surprised it's 81 in Philadelphia. John, nice to have you here from East Tennessee. Nick Amendot from Romania, nice to have you here. Matt from Denver, Colorado, where it snowed 6 inches on the first day of spring. David, KJ4CMY, nice to have you on board, my friend. And can watch the old show since don't have anywhere to go, like pretty much everybody. Huh? Scott Cranston, nice to have you here from Massachusetts. Might need to disconnect antenna. Thunderstorms. Cyberflyer1, nice to have you here. Nah, no new radio this week. So topic tonight, Cyberflyer1, is really just let's tune the bands and find signals and search for pirates and so on. Charlie, W8CFO from Columbus, Ohio. Nice to have you here. My kids have grounded me and my wife. Oh, man. Clark Gilson, nice to have you here from Southwest Wisconsin. Cool AM Radio, Andre, nice to have you here. And it's really cool. Thanks for the. I saw the email come through with the grease from Paul the Cat. Thanks so much for doing that, my friend. Jeff Williams, nice to have you on board from Southwest Cornwall in lockdown with cider. Nothing like a lockdown in alcohol. Like, radio, alcohol, and lockdown. Yeah, who cares about the rest of the world? Rob, nice to have you here from Phoenix, Arizona. We have Kevin J. Napalo, nice to have you on board. SWS2H from New Jersey. Jay Zoli, nice to have you here from Florida, my friend. And he says all the best from sunny, really warm Fort Lauderdale. Well, it's 16 Celsius here, so 16.2 now, actually. It's actually moving up real fast. Maybe we'll reach 70 Fahrenheit before the show ends. So nice to have you here. And you're soon to come back. I hope that you'll have your flight back to Canada, because things are getting crazy there. Of course, I'll have to be in that quarantine for 14 days when you come back. So not only will have quarantine, but you know what? If we have a beer after your quarantine, I think what's going to happen is we're going to have a beer either at your place or my place, because bars will still be closed. So, man. Kathy Atkins, nice to have you here. Thank you very much for the happy birthday. 51 years old today. 51. And I started listening to Shortwave at the young age of 13. Incredible. Time just flies. Did I think that I would have been listening to Shortwave still at that 50-year-old? I don't know. I don't think I ever thought about that at that age. At that age, didn't even think about or didn't come to mind that Shortwave was in decline, because it was already in decline in the 80s. When I started, the 80s were a start of the decline of Shortwave. And I guess, back in the 80s, I don't think I ever thought that there would be nothing on Shortwave, or very little, or that it'd be like it is today, which is very different from a kid in the 80s listening to Shortwave radio. But I'd say where I really understood that Shortwave was in danger, I think, was in the 90s. In the 90s, the decline was faster. And every scheduled season, we would have stations going And it's like, yeah, something's happening here. And the early 2000s, some of the big guns, when you start hearing Radio Netherlands going away, and some of my favorites, Swiss Radio International and Radio Sweden and things like that, or an HCJB leaving. That's when you start to get worried. What is happening, actually? But, there's still a lot to listen to. And there's not just international broadcasts. There's a lot of other stuff to listen to. And at least. Thank you all for the happy birthday messages. It's so funny because a friend at the bar, Jay Jolie knows his name is Claude. And he took note of my birthday, I don't know, 2-3 months ago. One night at the bar, we were talking about our birthdays, and I said, "Oh, well, mine's on March 20th," And I got he took one day he asked for my postal address, and I said, "Why you want to have my postal address?" He says, "Oh, just have a little file. I mean, we're friends now, so it's like I have a little file, and I'll know where you live, and I'll have all the details of my friend Jill." And this morning, when the mailman arrived, there was actually a birthday card from him. I was like, okay, that's why you wanted my postal address. And it's so funny because in the card he put, "Oh, this is Paul the cat saying happy birthday." It's just too funny. Oh man, Radio Telescope, nice to have you here. Yeah, they closed the bars here too. You got to drink at home, basically. OSI, nice to have you here from Belgium. Not sure my question will be adequate this evening. What do you think about DAB plus digital radio? I don't have too much to say about it because here we're not really there. And, I'm a firm believer that DRM is not a good way of, doing anything on shortwave, but somehow, yeah, maybe there is a something there for digital on local broadcasting, like AM and FM. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Is there a lot of DAB plus digital stations in Belgium? Vince Perrault, salut, bienvenue, mon ami. No, I like that special birthday beer. Didn't even have time to get my beer. Matt says overdriven modulation on Radio Havana, Cuba, 15370. Joseph, nice to have you here from California. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Rufus Newt, nice to have you here from the Laurentian Valley, Ontario. What else do we have? Mark Rich, nice to have you on board from Europe. Cold, locked, and watching the show. Nothing better to do than watching this show, actually. Matt says vitamin C and alcohol. You're immune. Yeah, pretty much. Coronavirus is going to die instantly in this mix. Today's figures. Nice to have you here. Sheldon Harvey from Greenfield Park, Quebec. And I pretty much have fixed our problem, Sheldon. After looking at some of the stuff that I have here, we should be good tonight to have it working well. Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Stephen Wood, nice to have you here. Chrissy Freitas, how are you? I know that you have a little problem with your flight back to Memphis. Hope that you get that sorted out. Nice to have you here from Fort Myers apartment. Jerry DX, nice to have you on board, my friend. Glenn Zeckman, nice to have you here. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. Christy says they just finally closed the beach, and I am so exhausted from work this week. Time to be practicing social distancing with this Ethon Traveler 3. You know, we have the perfect hobby for social distance. It's simply, start talking about shortwave radio. They're all going away anyways. So we are immune just talking about that or amateur radio to anybody. Randall Cluns, nice to have you here from Chicago area. Old Radio Man, nice to have you on board from Northeast Tennessee. G. Britton, nice to have you here from warm Toronto. G. Lee, nice to have you here. WA6120 says WL in Fresno, California. René Charbonnier, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. Caesar, nice to have you here from Wales. KB2CWN, nice to have you here from Florida. Mika Delmage, nice to have you here. Thank you. Keep your phone nearby. We'll try a CQ call later. Bands are poor tonight, right now. Okay, I'm going to just get my phone, actually. 2 seconds. I'll get my phone. It was charging. Yeah. Oh, it's actually, I'm going to remove my hoodie. It's actually kind of warm inside, too. You know, it's very windy outside, and the temperature is rising really fast. It's almost 17 degrees now. Pretty crazy. So here we go. Apparently I'm live. That's what my phone says anyways. So thank you. Elizabeth says hello through the email. By the way. So here we go. WF7I Ombrew, nice to have you here from a slightly muggy Virginia. Staying clear of COVID. Soldering iron is hot. Radios all around. Perfect. Why not? It's time to be in our man caves. WF7I Ombrew, nice to have you on board from Virginia. I just said that, isn't I? Yeah, I just said hi. I don't know why I said it again. You deserve 2 welcomes. Frank, KB2CWN, nice to have you here. Nerdy Gray Fox, nice to have you here, my friend. May the shortwave goddess bring you peace and long years of making us happy. Wow. Jose Manuel Navarro, nice to have you on board from Cordoba, Spain. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? Hope you're not too much locked down. I know Spain is badly hit. Lowend STI, nice to have you here, my friend. Mad Radio DXer, good evening. OSI says in Europe, the FM will be going to DAB+. There's not a lot. So in the United States, the FCC has started audience and started thinking about possibly bringing DAB+ and stuff. Here in Canada, it's not yet very clear on anything digital or any digital future, if you want. So this is something that I don't know. Well, I think it's not yet ready to implement. Someday, I'm sure someday it's going to happen. But here in North America, we are kind of far behind you guys in Europe on that side. Larry Stevens, nice to have you here from Newark, Ohio. And yeah, that's what I saw, Chrissy. Your original flight was canceled. Hope things are going to get better. Thank you for the happy birthday. Nikki Delmage, 51 today. You're so popular that they name an area after you. I like that. Oh, so that's why Area 51 is named after me. Okay. So, what else do we have? Yeah, Chrissy, hope things will get better. It's so super complicated. Keegan, nice to have you here in Northwest Arkansas. And what do we have? 51, still a youngster in the radio hobby. Yeah, I guess. Merci PLF Radio pour les vœux d'anniversaire. So Liam's getting a new Texan S2000 next week. Cool. Let us know what you think and how it goes. Eamon Cronin, nice to have you here, my friend, and keep safe, you too. OSI says Norway has shut down FM. Yeah, absolutely. They're totally digital. You know, I have a hard time. I don't know what to say about all of this and the digital revolution that it has, because what I don't like about that revolution of total digital is you are telling everybody that your radio isn't good anymore and that you got to buy a new one. What I don't like about digital, it's all or nothing. And that's probably my biggest complaint, would be that simply that it's all or nothing. So that means in areas where reception isn't that great, well, you just have nothing. Right now, if you have a low signal, if it's weaker, you still hear the station on FM analog or AM. But with DAB, it's there or it's not. And if it's noisy or if it's a little weaker than usual, you will just not have anything. And that is probably the biggest negative of that technology, I would say. Yeah, Chrissy. It's just it's a bad time. Wow, what the hell was that? I heard like a boom. Hope it's not my antennas or anything. So Chrissy, it's bad time for that job change, but hopefully things are going to get better and for you. Alio, nice to have you on board. Came back 4 days ago to ham radio. Huge resurgence with the home body preppers. They were saying there's a lot more. I've noticed there's a lot more activity on the ham bands due to the COVID-19 and people staying indoors. And they're saying that there's a renewed interest in amateur radio, actually, which is pretty nice, actually. Why not? It's the perfect hobby for that. Levi Nathan, nice to have you here from Israel. And thank you for the birthday wishes. What else do we have? Lewin's STI says social distancing. Have been practicing it all my life. Sarah Mason, nice to have you here. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Mad Radio DXer. Nice to have you here too. Elio is KG5, KSJ, David. Nice to have you here. Sarah Mason ordered the CC Skywave SSB. You're going to have fun with it. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. It's a nice radio. Honestly, it's a very nice radio. Joseph, I asked in the Facebook group, but maybe it was inappropriate. Anyone recommend a reliable place to purchase the MLA 30 Plus? Hopefully still in operation. You know what? The place where I ordered the MLA 30s, because I have 3 and I ordered all 3 of them from the same vendor on eBay. That vendor has actually said that all the ones that you get now are MLA 30 Plus. So let me just check out the eBay link and I'll post it here. So my eBay, here we go. So this is here we go. I ordered it from here, US $44. Wow, the Canadian dollar has dropped so much. When I purchased it the first time, US 44 came to a Canadian $58. Now US 44 is 63.60 Canadian. Crazy. And oh, you're crazy. Here we go. So I just posted the link of where I purchased it. And it's I purchased it, all three of them there. They came in. The first one came in like a week. The two others were a little longer. Actually, the last one, MLA 30 Plus, took more than a month. But with what's happening, with the virus, everything's kind of longer. He actually has MLA 30 Plus now. He actually mentioned it. So you don't have to ask. He sends out MLA 30 Plus. Apparently, it's pretty much the only thing they have now. Carl Womble, nice to have you here, Carl, from South Carolina. John Bolton, nice to have you here, my friend. KE0PCI. Ari Gutman, nice to have you here. KD9FCZ, going for his general exam. Cool. Good luck. John Bolton says, that is for sure. Mention shortwave or ham radio and the public will cross the street to give you social distancing. Pretty much. Lisbon, 1984. Nice to have you here from Portugal. Everybody saying hello to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Okay, there's something happening, guys. Wait. Okay, sorry, guys. It was one of the neighbors that had something. So, okay, we're back. Okay. Mark Elford, nice to have you on board from Vancouver Island. Tom DXer, nice to have you here from the Lower Hudson Valley, New York. John Bolton, thank you for the happy birthday wishes. Kimberly, K6YYL in California. Oh my God, Shortwave guy responded to me. Steve Richard, nice to have you here, Steve. And yes, we are enjoying our trip around the sun in a very unique way. B Holden 97, nice to have you here. KC1FIJ in Massachusetts. ChemXZ 76, nice to have you here. And thank you so much, Cool AM Radio, for all the promos and clips and stuff. Really cool. PLF Radio says here DAB Plus is from 174 to 240 megahertz. Oh, interesting. So they chose a separate band for that. Alio. What else we have? What else do we have? David, KJ4CMY in North America. We went to in-band on channel, IBOC. I guess they didn't go enough testing to realize its limitations. And it creates tons of interference at the same time. That's the biggest problem. Payne says, you're 51. I would have guessed 35. Wow. Thank you. Actually, people don't give me my age. A couple of people asked me a few weeks ago, how old I'd be, and they were all thinking like, oh, he's 40 or something like that, or early 40s. And I said, no, 51. So you're 51, really? Huh. Okay. My beard is showing that I'm getting old. My hair is still pretty intact for a guy of 51, and I don't color my hair. Somebody said, well, look at the beard. You color your hair. No, I don't. It's naturally like that. It will one day be white, but right now it's still pretty decent. So that, of course, helps. Did I give you the idea, Matt, about the banana bread? Oh, man, it was so good. And I still have some. So good. Radioactive, nice to have you on board from Oregon. A. Morrison, nice to have you on board, new to Shortwave. And you got a shout out, my friend. Where are you located? Andy RC, nice to have you on board. Whoops, let me just... Okay, NDRC. Yep, my birthday. Absolutely. Today. Payne says, I got into shortwave for handheld specifically. I don't think I'll ever start using my computer for shortwave unless I specifically need to. So, we all have our way of wanting to be in the hobby and what we want to do and how we do it. Some people like SDRs and will actually love, the software-defined receivers. Basically, some don't. A lot of people don't. They just want to have portable radios or big desktops and just use that. It's I think it's all different. Handy RC, all UK pubs and restaurants to shut tonight. Well, ours, it's been a week here now that we've shut down. JH, nice to have you here from North Germany. And yes, thanks for the birthday wishes. And yes, please stay safe in these crazy times. James de Calais, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. 51 is a drink. Pastis 51. Aha. Interesting. What else do we have? What else? Radioactive restaurants are still open in Oregon, drive-through and carry out only. Yeah, pretty much here. You can still have McDonald's or whatever, or A&W, but it's only for pickup. They don't, you cannot eat there. Rick Satter, nice to have you here, and thank you for the birthday wishes. That's good news, Chrissy, to have less rent. Radioactive, yep. AM operators are natural social distancers. Joe Rotman, nice to have you here from Chicago, and 9JCQ. 30 Gray Fox, with all the digital technology, we will have to invent a digital crystal radio to have basic fun. That's an interesting idea. A DRM-based crystal radio. Imagine a little crystal radio with all the circuitry around it for DRM decoding. Ecadarius, nice to have you here, my friend. Catalan, nice to have you here. Payne, it's actually even lower. It was like 68 or something. It fell like crazy this week. It went from like 75 2 weeks ago to like 68. Pretty crazy. Others, Ali Crafter's Kitchen. Nice to have you here, my friend. And home of the latest 1,000 YouTube subscriber channel. You've joined the club, Arthur. Gaëtan Bellil, bonjour et bienvenue. Merci. Merci pour les vœux d'anniversaire. And Darius says, happy birthday, but remember, Paul is the real star of the show. I know. Mitch in Buckeye, Arizona. I don't know Paul's birthday. So what I did with Paul is his birthday that I actually gave him is when he showed up here for the first time ever, which is June 14th. So for me, Paul's birthday is June 14th, the day that he showed up for the first time and looked at my face, and I thought, oh man, what a beautiful little cat. Now he's become a beautiful big cat. I was at grocery yesterday, and I bought some cat food, and I bought a lot of cat food. And the cashier looks at me and says, wow, lucky cat. And I said, yeah, lucky cat and lucky fat cat. Brett Wayne, nice to have you on board from Salamanca, New York, KC2NXP. Radioactive, the police showed up. The FCC. Yeah. Too much pirate radio. Refus, ICOM assassins. Or dare you talk bad of the ICOM ICR30. Oh, man. A. Morrison, anyone tried the world radio from Tesco in the UK? Paul eating the birthday cake, says Cooley on radio. Jojo Cunanan, nice to have you here, Jojo. KM6EHD in Los Alamitos, California. JH, have you ever heard from the active magnetic loop from Chavdar Levkov LZ1 AQ? Can recommend this amplifier kit from him. Compared to the MLA30, much more valuable, better as a signal noise ratio. I've heard of it. I mean, it'd be interesting to test it for sure. Because I think it'd be very, very interesting to test out. It's funny because I took down the MLA30s because I got the MLA30 and MLA30 Plus. And while I did that, I thought, I took them down. So if I put them back up, let's switch their positions. So the MLA30 Plus is at the original MLA30 position now on the balcony. And the MLA30 is on the position where the MLA30 Plus was. I switched them. Towmaster, nice to have you here. No new radios to test, Towmaster. Not yet. Eric Cottrell, bonjour. Hope you're well, my friend. We're working from home, so I can use speakers. Cool. Jojo, thank you very much. What do we have here? Eric says, it's too bad Canada discontinued their DAB. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we don't follow it. Maybe, Canada is such a large territory. Maybe something's like, they're thinking it's complicated. Because I don't, okay, I haven't tried one, but I don't think that you would have, you would have the same range in a broadcast signal that's DAB as an analog one. Baby Boo from the Czech Republic. Nice to have you on board. Thank you for an amazing channel. Really love the Texan R9012. It's on the way. But I want to buy a PL 660 or 680. Which one is better? In future also, RSPDX with MLA30 Plus. Go for the 660 because the 680 has a little bit of glitches. And I would, if I would buy one or the other, I'd go probably with the 660 instead. That is far more better. I mean, it's really a It's really a known radio that's solid and works well, and people have it for a long time. The 680 is a good one, but there's the encoder problem on some, which I ran into, where the encoder actually jams and you can't tune. There's also the 680 has low audio and single sideband, which makes it a little sad. And some of them are off frequency by about a kilohertz, which problems that are not plaguing the PL660. Sarah 51. Wow, wouldn't have guessed. Jean-Marc, nice to have you on board. Live Equinox birthday show. Yeah, it's true. We are in spring officially now. That's why it's 16, 15 degrees outside. We are officially in spring. Nicodarius will be 50 in October. Thank you. Matt says, actually, the banana bread thing's a coincidence. I bought bananas last week and let them go on purpose. I meant to do it the other day, but I've been unfocused. Here, I got banana bread because there were too many bananas. So instead of letting them go, I used some to make the banana bread. Rick, W8PRR in Ohio, and WOHP 1390. Yeah, no Dayton Amvention this year. They are doing like every other event, which is, I think, a wise thing to do. I mean, it's super complicated now. Daniel Edward, nice to have you here, and thank you for the happy birthday. Catalin, my plan for the night is to run WSJTX on Raspberry Pi. Oh, that's interesting. And the RSP18 for FT8, maybe some info about JST8 call. Anybody could maybe have a little more info on that. I'm not much of a I haven't used a JST8 call, so. Paul Hallis, nice to have you on board from Liverpool. Payne says, not aiding SDR, but just broke at the moment. It happens to all of us, and I think there are probably a little more people that are broke at the moment. That's for sure. Payne, do you have any tips for listening to Harp or satellites on shortwave? Is that still a thing? So Harp is right now off. Since Chris Fallen, that was the head of the program, left the program last year, Harp is now on it's on hold. Everything's still there, transmitters, antennas, but there's nothing happening with Harp at the moment at all. As for satellites, there's really nothing much in satellites anymore on shortwave. There used to be the Russian RS series that was had downlinks in 10 meter band, but for satellites, you'll have to do it on a VHF 2 meter band or on VHF in general and UHF now. James Powers, KC1ENJ, nice to have you on board. And thanks, China, for my 2 Amalie 30s, but no thanks for this nonsense. Yeah. Man. The U-loop antenna. I never heard of the U-loop antenna. Zachary Antle, nice to have you on board. René Charbonnier, the best thing about shortwave is that you have to go outside for the best results. I love it. It is amazing outside, absolutely. Zach, my birthday was yesterday and pretty lousy and boring, so I'm glad there's a stream to amuse myself. Cool. It's our birthday, Zach. stream is a birthday gift. David Provo, nice to have you on board from Sarasota, Florida. Richard Lyons, nice to have you here. WD9DNM. Eric Cottrell, enjoying some organic kombucha. Huh. Jersey Bound, nice to have you on board from New Jersey. Late, but better late than never, to say. Ray, nice to have you on board from Turkey. James Glencross, if you would buy one book for shortwave listening, which book would you buy? If it has to be a paper book, what you could try out is the shortwave listening guide by trying to find if I got it closer, by John A. Figliozzi. I have it close. I don't see it. It must be somewhere on my desk. Yeah, I don't have it close by. It is actually a nice multi-effort. It's like multimedia almost, if you want, because it has it has not just shortwave schedules and information. It also goes with everything, including podcasts. There's a really nice guide that is on Amazon. And let me just forget the name of the book. It's an ebook, so it's an electronic publication. You'll have to read it on a tablet or on a computer. And let me just try to find it. It is let me just go into books. It's from oh man, trying to find. So Gail Van Horn, and it's a Gail Van Horn Global Radio Guide, and she updates it. The book is updated twice a week. Twice a year. So right now it's the winter edition, and they have the summer edition, and it's not very expensive. It's a nice guide for anybody that wants to learn shortwave, honestly. Really, really nice because it explains the basics of shortwave and has all the details of everything, including you'll learn everything, QSLing and all the aspects of shortwave radio. It's very, very nice and very well done. And it's very inexpensive, it's like not even $10. And but it's an electronic publication. You can buy it on Amazon and read it on your tablet or computer, pretty much. Hey, Calvin, nice to have you here. David Boyd, nice to have you on board in New Zealand. Pretty cool. Thank you for the birthday wish. How do you filter out electronic interference on shortwave? It's a very, very difficult thing to do. The best way to work it out is to find what creates noise and try to isolate it somehow, or if it's not needed when you do your listening sessions, to keep it shut down. You got to find what is making noise, honestly. The problem with that is if the noise comes from sources you have no possibility of changing, well, what's going to happen is that you have to then work in either getting or positioning antennas in a way that it is as far as possible from the noise source, or like an MLA 30 loop. The magnetic loop antennas kind of lower that noise. Once again, it's not a magical antenna, but it's definitely better in most cases. Calvin, how's the working from home? Pretty much the same. I was joking on Facebook the other day and said, well, I've noticed with the quarantine that I already had a quarantine style lifestyle. Bob Piemo, nice to have you here. You gotta walk outside when no one's around. Yep. Paul Hallis, nice to have you here. 2E0ICE. Man. PLF Radio, which radios would you like to add to your collection? Wow, what would I want to try? Probably the ACRF SDRs that everybody says, they're so good, and kind of compare them to the SDR Play devices. That could be something to that I'd be interested in having. I would like to test out, the Texan PL 990, but I'm sorry, I'm not paying $399 US. Imagine it was 563 Canadian 2 weeks ago. With the dollar going down, it must be like 600 Canadian now. Plus the taxes I'll have to pay and everything. Way too expensive. But I'd like, I'd be curious to test it out for sure. What else do we have? Brett Wayne just got an RSP-1A from my friend Paul, KC2NXO. He just got the RSP-DX. Oh, cool. Cool. Payne says, I hear your thunderstorm. Well, it's not, there's no thunderstorm. There's a boom, but it's not the thunderstorm. It's extremely windy right now. And I think something kind of moved or bumped or something. But we had a lot of rain this afternoon, actually, at one point. WS7I, I would agree to PL660 being a great little radio. Love that. And XH Data D808, but appreciate that the 660 does not have the muting issue. Use both portables a lot, and they do well on telescopic. Yeah, it's possible that invention will be moved to the fall. It's going to be interesting to see, because I think we're now really in a position where we have no idea when all of this is going to, be at a point where we can actually start having our lives back. It's pretty darn crazy what's happening now. Bob T, nice to have you here from Northeast Ohio. Working from home these days, like a lot of people. And a lot of people ain't working also. John Bolton says the Tesco RAD108 has horrible reviews, built cheap and made to stay that way. There's a lot of cheap junk, unfortunately, out there. We got to be careful. And, you got to be careful because it's a way to also push somebody out of the hobby. I mean, if you start with a bad radio, you might never come back to the hobby. So you better have something that is at least a minimum of quality from the start. Audiophile tubes. Is the Yaesu FRG 100 a good shortwave receiver? Or the ICOM original 756? My uncle passed and left me these two radios for shortwave listening. They are older radios. Both are great. I would say the 756 probably outperforms the FRG 100. But both are quite good as shortwave radios, honestly. Set them up and play around with them, honestly. As we have. Kathleen, you should align one of the loops north-south, the second one east-west. Well, actually, I have that. With the W6 LVP loop is 90 degrees from the MLA 30. So the MLA30s are like southwest, northeast orientation. The W6LVP is northwest to southeast orientation. What did I say the other one? It's easy to get mixed up. So northeast, southwest for the MLA30s, and northwest, southeast for the W6LVP. Tom the Xer, U-Loop is a new passive loop designed by AirSpy to work on the HF Plus and HF Discovery. Oh, interesting. Around US $30. Oh, that's interesting. Thanks, man, for the nice haircut. Jerry X has lots of states ordered to shelter. Yep. Zach's been binging on the old James Bond movies. I like the old ones. You know. Somehow, I find the new ones, they lost something in the way. The old ones are good. Red Elvis 65 in New York City. Nice to have you here. Jerry DX, I would get you a big box of toilet paper for your birthday, but everyone is sold out. Oh, man. West Side says Grundig G3. The Grundig G3 is a very nice radio. It's like the G5 also. They are nice radios. But you know what? I would say the G3 is maybe slightly, from what I hear, because I don't own one, but I own a G5, is that they are maybe slightly above, but honestly, it's there's so many good choices out there that even if you don't find one, there's other things that are pretty good, like the XH data and stuff. Jerry DX is DX in feline quarantine. Jojo, get again the Kenwood R5000 flashback. Yeah, I like to test our Kenwood R5000 compared to the radios today. Matt, I bet the PL990 will be a lot less when the real production run for the world market begins. It's possible. I hope so. If I could get my hands, I would, honestly, up to, but maybe 350 Canadian dollars. I'd think about it seriously, but above that, I don't think it's worth it. Roman, nice to have you here. Bob Pierpont in Massachusetts, USA. Graham, nice to have you here. How do you set the frequencies on the RSPDX? You mean tuning around? You just click on the frequency panel at the top and type in the frequency you're listening to, or you want to listen to, if that's what you mean. Matambale, nice to have you on board, my friend. Thank you for the birthday wishes. The Polaron message, nice to have you on board. Caught the fire drake yesterday morning. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's still there. It's less. I hear it less than I used to, but it's still there. Jerry DX, glad I have my radios to keep me entertained and in good spirits. I think that's cool. But it's because there's a lot of the religious station audiophile tubes that are the ones that we often stumble across, that we hear better, but there's a lot of other stuff out there than religious stations. PLF Radio, is Canada under quarantine? Well, Montreal is, in Quebec, the province of Quebec. I think each province is dealing differently with all of that. I don't mind French OSI. It's just that the other ones, the other viewers might like to read and understand your questions, and also they could interact more. So, of course, English is preferred. I understand your questions, but Matt says nobody knows for sure, even the experts. Yeah, it's kind of we're kind of in a in an unknown area, honestly. Rufus, social distancing is strongly advised. My company shut down today until April 6th. Mark Rich, any internal antenna recommendations for desired Alenco DX R8E? Had the same radio since 1986. If there's no external antenna possible, I think the ML830 loop is a great possibility for indoor use, honestly. JRDX, whatever you do, don't drink any Fin du Monde. They're all out of beer. I need to go to another grocery store because the grocery store I go to are kind of reorganizing the store. They have no more beer except crappy stuff like Budweiser. EA1DWI, nice to have you on board from Spain. Valley, Fin du Monde is the beer that I have sometimes, 9%. Thomas, nice to have you on board. Lee Burkett, nice to have you here. Yep, pretty good here. I'm winning an auction for the Texan PL660. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, PLF radio, that it's same for the G5, the Grundig Ethon G3, G5. They have the rubber finish. And that's what I used. I finally used rubbing alcohol. 70% rubbing alcohol actually works great in removing the rubber finish and having a radio that looks. My G5 looks like it's brand new because that thing is disgusting. After time, it really gets sticky. Matt says PL990 really looks like it's meant to succeed the PL880. As such, I really cannot imagine listing for more than $239 US and being sold by most places for $199. You know, it because it does have quite a few more features on, the MP3 and the memory card slot, and you can actually record on the MP3 stuff and on a memory card and so on. So and they have fancy wording for all sorts of features in it. So it seems to be kind of more advanced, but is it really better? That's another story. Archer's Out of Crafter's Kitchen running is ICOM R71A and Kenwood R2000. Charity X, Ontario's in quarantine. Yeah, I heard something like that, pretty much. I think Quebec, the province of Quebec, was one of the first ones to kind of order everything. It's pretty crazy times. What else do we have? Let me just go down. Cristoforo says, just ordered my first radio. And what model is it, my friend? We want to know. Icadarius says, why can't my PL660 pick up stations from Europe in North Africa on the long wave bands? And number 2, can the ML8 Plus help pick up those long wave stations from Europe in North Africa? So what location are you? Where are you located, Ecadarius? Out of curiosity, I forgot where you're located. Because, like here in North America, unless you're close to the ocean, getting long wave stations from Europe and North Africa is almost impossible. I know that there are some models, some Texan models also that aren't super, really that great with long wave because they use the internal ferrite. The MLE 30 Plus might not necessarily be really good to help you out here because the antenna jack of the PL660 is, I believe, only for shortwave. So on medium wave AM and long wave, I think it's not going to work. Hey, out of TP is one thing, absolutely, but out of beer is worse. I can tell you that. PLF Radio says France and its overseas regions are in quarantine since Tuesday. Yeah. Has REE English been on? I haven't tried Radio Exterior de España this week. I know that they have greatly reduced the programming at Radio Exterior de España. So I don't know, but I might not. I'd be really. I wouldn't be really surprised if they maybe stopped the English and other languages for the time being, because I did see something go through that Radio Exterior de España has greatly reduced its output on shortwave due to what's happening, and also because the first thing I thought was, one of the questions I have, and actually, you know what, I listened to sports stations this week a few times for a very simple reason. When there is no sports to talk about, what do sports stations actually talk about? And I tuned our local sports station here on 690 a few times. Noticed that there was a lot of, chatting along, talking of different players, of different teams, of different sports. So it's like, well, they still have some stuff to talk about sports. They're talking about the players and the teams and things that, they could do. And I was like, okay, well, it's not a game or something, but if you like sports and you want to follow the gossip on whatever player and whatever team, okay, yeah, okay, I get it. It's okay. Um, Catalan, a new small shortwave radio came out. It's black and has an LCD. Wow, that's kind of a difficult one to guess, Catalan. Michael Langer, nice to have you here. Wife was cooking banana bread, and I was bitching on beer joke as well. Vinegar works, Liam. The only thing about vinegar, it leaves a smell. No problem, Gaetan PLF rated Texan PL 990 is like a merge of the 880 and the 398 MP, from what I understand. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Matt says, good point about the extra features, but those don't sound like very pricey add-ons to me. I mean, they can't be very pricey add-ons because, when a Tivdio V115 that doesn't cost $20 can record on an MP3 file of what you're listening on the radio, that means recording from the radio on a memory card is very inexpensive. I don't know. It's, at that price, it's one of the most pricey portables, in the leagues of the Sony ICF 2010 and stuff like that. Paul Steckler, yes, I can see this. Oh, Cristoforo, the CC Skywave SSB. Cool. Matt says banana bread in the oven. It's the week of the banana bread. Talking about coronavirus? No, banana bread. Oh, in Texas. Okay, Kadarius. You will have a very hard time getting these stations, honestly, Kadarius. Here I never here in Montreal, I've never received any long wave stations from Europe at all. And those that I see in North America that do get them are, in general, they live kind of closer to the ocean, closer to the Atlantic, for example. And you got to really have very, very low noise at the same time for that to work well. Paul Steckler, the case of Corona beer in my fridge. Cool. You want to scare your neighbors? You don't mention the beer. You just say, yeah, I got Corona. Instant social distancing. Ray Kelly, nice to have you here. Yeah, the East Coast, when you're close to the ocean, pretty regulars. But as soon as you get inside North America, it's getting very difficult to get, honestly. JDX, banana bread with chocolate chips. I wanted to keep it kind of a little healthy if possible, so I didn't put any chocolate in it. So, Matt says, Radio Stereo has been a regular catch here this week. I don't make it a point to tune in every day. Because, let's check it out here, 9690. So it's on right now. Okay, 9690. With a pretty good signal. So it's definitely on. It's coming in pretty well for Radio Exterior de España, but I haven't, because half of the time, I forget about the English broadcast from Spain. So when I get it, it's almost by accident that it's like, oh yeah, they're in English at this time. And of course, they have the 30-minute French also. But I haven't tuned into their English or French language broadcast this week, so I don't know if they still have it. But they're on right now in Spanish. David Provo says, I pick up Radio España all the time here in Florida, always Spanish. Liam, do you use indoor, outdoors for VHF, UHF? Here, when I listen to VHF, UHF, I have a wideband mobile vertical antenna in the backyard on the meadow shed. So that is what I typically use for my radios here. The only times I will use indoor is when I use one of my portables that I often will use just with the rubber duck antenna or the telescopic. Matt says sports broadcasters are hurting trying to come up with something. You'd think Tom Brady landing in Tampa Bay was bigger than the coronavirus because they're all can report right now. PLF Radio here in France, TV sports talk shows are canceled. Yeah, my vodka orange is pretty good, OSI. Absolutely. Rufus, NASCAR is doing a simulated race tomorrow. Being televised. Wow. Eric Cottrell says BBC World Service recovering the smaller countries that still has matches being played. Even those matches are going away. Yeah. I like the one of the jokes that I've seen on Facebook that I like is the cat is in the window of a door, and there's a sign that says, "Whatever the cat says, do not open the door." And there's a little sheet of paper that the cat put next to the door that says, Open the door. I have toilet paper. I found it funny. I found it really funny. Gilliam, I'll try it. We'll see. There's other crafters. Do you think now we will hear more of the Alex Jones or survivalists and preppers on shortwave with the pandemic? Um, it's hard to say. They already have a certain presence, but is it gonna increase or go worse or get worse? I don't know. I mean, I listened to Alex Jones and I'm like, wow, really? I can't believe a lot of it, and that it can stay on the air like that. I mean, I know free speech, but I don't know. There's a point where you're like, come on, really? Seriously? This is crazy. We've got an email, Roger, that is located in the state of Mississippi, saying hello to everybody. He says that it's the second time he's watched. He watched last Friday's show last week, and he enjoys the show. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you very much, Robert. And it's nice to have all of this. Jerry X, as long as you got food, beer, and radios, can shelter in place for a long, long time. Pablo, nice to have you here. Biggie Delmage, did anyone here VI3RA using former Radio Australia site? I tried a few things when I was able to have some time. I did see some reporting on the DX clusters, but I don't know. I haven't seen anybody kind of report or hear them or here in North America, I guess. Joey D, nice to have you on board. Well, if I have to listen to religious broadcasts, I want to have that crazy preacher that always yells all the time. The screaming preacher guy. At least it's funny. RFDXer from Southeast Colorado. Catalan, so long wave along with medium wave, they travel along the surface of the earth. Therefore, if you are in the basement, should you receive better on long wave? Well, actually, not necessarily in the basement, because once you get under the earth, well, they don't really go below the surface much. It's just whatever height you live in your home. It's ground wave. Long waves are really ground waves. Medium wave is a mix. Long wave tend to follow the curvatures of the earth, so it's kind of unique in that way. And so what you hear when you hear, if you catch a European long wave station here in North America, you're getting that ground wave that went across the ocean and all of that. And the ocean and big surface of waters, bodies of waters, are great for propagation of these signals. On medium wave, you get a mix, because medium wave, the bottom part of the medium wave, so to put things straight, medium wave starts at 300 kilohertz. So if you're listening to a non-directional beacon at 400 kilohertz, you're actually listening to a medium wave beacon. So 300 kilohertz to 3 megahertz is medium wave. And that means that when you're at 300 kilohertz, you're still in that ground wave propagation. But as you move higher, they're starting to get a mix where some of the signal is now skywave, like a shortwave signal. And that's pretty much what happens when you tune medium wave. Why do we get tons of stations from far away at night? Is that because of the reorganization of the ionosphere, the D layer at the bottom actually disappears. That's the one that actually absorbs the medium wave signals. When that disappears, now the medium wave signals actually bounce off the ionosphere. That's why we get some stations from far away at night on medium wave, because medium wave is kind of a mix between some ground wave and some skywave radio signal. Joseph says 9690, pushing S5 into the West Coast. I was listening to, I'm looking at your conversation here about ham radio, and there was, I have, there was that ham yesterday on that I posted on the Shortwave group on in the Saint Martin. The guy was in Saint Martin, and he was alternating between CQDX outside North America and CQDX general. And boy, did US hams have a hard time with that. He was constantly coming back saying, I just said CQDX outside North America. That's outside USA and Canada. Please respect that. It was crazy. Sheldon Harvey have heard long wave stations occasionally in Montreal, with the best opportunity being in the winter and long darkness periods. Alan Roberts in Saint Lambert has had really excellent success in the past. You know what? What I was wondering at one point, because before I got a good enough receiver and antenna that maybe I could have tried long wave, I think my noise level was maybe too high or something. And when I had the occasion of maybe listening in to long wave signals, I just didn't tune in. And I mean, I used to listen, because the long wave bands, I used to listen to the long wave bands when I was a teenager. I would make a log of non-directional beacons that we have here in North America. And I mean, I remember that it was quiet enough that I logged, some nights I logged, 60, 70, 80 beacons. I remember hearing one from Bermuda. And I was like, wow, I got a Bermuda beacon, non-directional beacon on long wave. I remember trying a few times and hearing that there were some stations making it sometimes from Europe. But I never heard anything. And, it would have been interesting if I had, for example, an MLA 30 plus in my Kenwood R5000 back in 1990, when I would live where it was very quiet. I would have been curious to see if I could have received some of these stations. I know they make. I see a few out there that report regularly some long wave stations, and that from Europe. But I've never received one here. Maybe in long wave reception from far away, maybe you have to be at the right time, do it the right night, the night where they are stronger than usual. Because I know a lot of people have logged them. Absolutely, Sheldon. Matt says Radio Exterior España. French still happening. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, like the English version. Jay Watterson 69. Nice to have you on board, my friend. It's the radio apocalypse. RFDXer, what's on tap today? It's vodka and orange juice. Icterius says I'm 1,100 miles as the crow flies from Havana, Cuba, and picking up that shortwave station on 5025. Yeah, Rebelde, Radio Rebelde is very strong, 5025. It has a great signal even up here in Montreal, and we're much further away. Catalan, I have a CB antenna tuned for 27225, and I receive well on 15, 17, 20, 30. The coil at the base, what purpose does it serve? Is most for transmit or receive? Usually the coil at the base is to tune it to resonate to a specific frequency. So when they put a coil on an antenna, it's to compensate the fact that the antenna might not be long enough or doesn't resonate at that frequency. So by adding the coil, they actually tune it to get a specific frequency. So a lot of shorter CB antennas have a coil at the base to compensate the fact that it's too short to actually transmit on that frequency. Nick Carrigan, nice to have you here. Nick, received the MLA30 Plus, but damaged beyond repair. So I'm going to melt the resin and snap some photos of the newest circuit board. I won't know if it's repairable until the resin is off. Wow. Did you damage it, or it's just it arrived damaged, Nick? Matam Valley says, nerds have a natural gift for social distancing. Dark Noise and L, nice to have you here, my friend, from the Netherlands. Cool AM Radio, 6205. Laser Hot Hits. Let's see if I hear anything here, 6205. Nope. Nothing on... Nothing here. Interesting. Something has changed when I changed my antennas. Sarah Mason just heard Alex Jones last night on Shortwave. He is a total fake. Alex Jones is, pretty Alex Jones impressions here. Well, guys are gonna get the MLA30 loop antenna. Remember, it sucks. It sucks the waves out of the atmosphere into the antenna, into your radio. You gotta buy it. And why not get a tinfoil hat? Ecodarius, a lot of broadcasters in the US are very religious. Some are totally religious all day. But there are a few that actually alternate with other types of programs. WTWW is an example. That one is religious at certain times, but has music shows, has amateur radio shows and stuff. WWCR is pretty religious, but they do support some programming from like AWR Wavescan and the Australian DX report and stuff. WBCQ, mixed bag, all sorts of things, including controversial things. WRMI, mixed bag. Some religious stuff, like Brothers There, but a lot of relays of broadcasters like Radio Prague, Radio Slovakia, Radio Ukraine, Radio Tirana, RAE Argentina, and Voice of the Report of the Week that I listened to last night. And by the way, Voice of the Report of the Week, I misunderstood the way that he mentioned it. So Voice of the Report of the Week is actually broadcasting 3 days in a row with his shows right now. So I listened to the show last night at 0200 on 5850, but I could hear him also on 7780 at 01. Now he's supposed to be there tonight also at 0200 and tomorrow Saturday night at 0200 UT Sunday, 5850. Jay Watterson says, if Paul the Cat was that mean, then I would say, let me in. I have a Degen 31 MS indoor. In my case, don't open the door, the cat would just say, oh, hey, I've got a new radio for you. Oh man, I'm opening the door. KC1HOX, nice to have you on board. Matt says, Terry Blalock, the full gospel hour. Yeah. I got to take it easy, Dark Noise. Joey D, the screaming preacher rules. RDX are getting more thunderstorms. Well, temperature is interesting because the show started an hour and a half ago. The temperature was at some point reached 17 Celsius, and now it's down at 12. And tonight it's supposed to be like minus 10. This is crazy. We're going to have gone from plus 17 Celsius to minus 10 tonight. 27-degree drop. Catalan, are the IPS displays noisier than other panels? I would like a 27-inch monitor, and I want an RF noiseless device, of course. The biggest problem with monitors and TV, so, like here I've got a Sony. This is a Sony TV in reality that has my computer plugged in. And it's the 32-inch Sony. It is relatively quiet. It's not zero noise because when I used to do some tests, I would shut it down and I would see that there are little lines here and there that were disappearing. But overall, it's pretty good. It's very, very difficult to know if a monitor, based on its technology, will be noisy or not. Most of what there is today seems to be rather quiet. My Toshiba TV seems very quiet. The problem is mostly that the power supplies and the way that it's designed will kind of tell you if it's noisy or not. Unfortunately, we can't really bring a radio with us at the store and say, can you turn on the TV? And I'm going to, and when you're close to it, it's always noisy. I mean, if I take a radio and bring it next to my 50-inch TV in the living room, it will be noisy when I'm next to it. But it drops off very fast as I move away. So it's a very, that's a difficult one. I've had one monitor, an Acer monitor. Oh man, that thing would buzz its way across the shortwaves everywhere when it was bright. So if I had a white background, oh man, that would buzz away everywhere. It was crazy. It's totally crazy. And sorry, I just got a text message from somebody saying that he is in isolation until April 1st. So it's very difficult to know if you buy a monitor, will it be quiet or not. I've noticed like there's a certain thing that I kind of noticed. It doesn't mean it is, but I've noticed regularly that, for example, good names, like, if you buy a good brand monitor, they often tend to be less noisy than a weird branded monitor, often. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one to really know if something is you never know what you buy. Will it be noisy or not? Every time I get a new electronic device here, it's always, okay, well, that thing make noise now. When I got my Epson EcoThank printer, I was like, yeah, well, I plugged that in and then have tons of noise and new lines and all sorts of weird things happening. Nah, I haven't seen any difference, but it's always a gamble. Sheldon RV, yes, absolutely. For people that want to be informed about the hobby, want to know what's happening. Well, there's a fantastic little publication, and it's by the Canadian International DX Club, and it's called The Messenger. It's an electronic publication, a PDF you get in your email every month, and it's a club for anyone, everywhere, and whatever is your passion in radio. There's something for everybody in there. I am the editor of the utility column in it, and you can actually ask for a sample copy at cidxclub@yahoo.com and see what it is and how it is, and do you like it? And if you do, well, you can become a member of the club and at the same time get that bulletin. $10 a year, $25 for 3 years, and got nothing to lose to ask that sample copy, but no more than one. RFDXer heard 770 RCN Bogota, Colombia 2 nights ago on medium wave in Colorado. Wow, this is crazy. I was surprised this winter when I actually received Radio Rebelde in Cuba on 6 something. It was something like 680 kilohertz or something. I'm trying to remember or 660 or 670 kilohertz. Robert G. So here is going to fox hunting during national emergency. Hey, who here is going to go off fox hunting? Man. Roby Nata, nice to have you on board. Roberto from Italy. Stay safe, my friend. Mark Alford, best time for shortwave listening is during the day mostly. I'm on the furthest west coast Canada. I've never looked into why that is. It's kind of interesting. And what do you listen to in the daytime? Because mostly, midday is usually not necessarily the best time, but except in the winter. Okay, it's that's the complexity of shortwave. The complexity of shortwave brings us into a something that means summer, winter, and whenever season is always a little different. And in the winter time, daytime listening is actually not bad because there's a lot of stations that are breaking through and making it, like on the 31 meter band and 25 meter band. I guess as you'll move into summer, you might see that during the day is not going to be necessarily the best time. And usually favoring the couple of hours before and after sunset is, for the most part, often the best time. But it all has to do simply with the fact that the ionosphere changes, and as the day goes through, propagation from different areas also change. I've never been to the West Coast, and one of the things I'd be extremely curious to do, and actually I could use an SDR online, but I would be interested to go to Vancouver, BC, and tune shortwave from there, from the West Coast. It's extremely different from the East Coast. Like we were talking, I think it was with Matt, MDK2. We were talking about how European stations here are kind of an easy one for the East Coast, but tough for the West. And at the other extreme is like at the West Coast, you guys get the Pacific and Asia easily. For you guys, Radio New Zealand is like a regular catch, and Radio Thailand and stuff like that. Where here in the East, it's kind of more difficult. So, Lieberg can't believe his Radio Shack scanner is almost 30 years old. Well, you know what? My Pro 2006 there is 30 20, 26, 27 years of age. My Pro 43 is close to 30 years of age. My DX100, my realistic DX100 that started all. In August, it'll be at 38 years. Crazy when you think about it. 38 years for a little radio. And I'm kind of lucky a little bit. You know what? I've noticed a lot of forums talking of the realistic DX100. And a lot of people mention how over time there's a problem that a lot of them have with, I believe, is the transistor that is the first amplifier for the RF signal that goes bad. And I've seen a lot of mods people changing it to another number that apparently works well and will stay good. I've been lucky to not have that problem with the radio, at least. So, So let's try to check it out here. What else do we have? Let me go down, trying to not miss out on anything and anybody. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because long wave nighttime is better, but long wave is actually good for distance all around the day. Most of the time, it's better in the winter and when it's very dark, but even in the middle of the day, it's pretty surprising what you can have. Ray Kelly, KBS making it on 3955 from Wolferton. Wow. That was at 23. It's 41, so I don't know if it's still there, but here I got a... I hear the carrier. When I actually tune off with the single sideband 3955, I do hear the carrier on that frequency. And yes, there's some ham interference. I'm seeing a ham that was just talking on the frequency, just next to it. Yeah, I keep trying, Kadarius. Maybe at some point you'll have some luck. And I don't know how the when we test out, because not all portable radios are equal also on that reception. And remember one thing also, Kadarius, most people that receive long wave signals are receiving them. A lot of them are receiving them with like big gun desktop receivers and outdoor antennas. Dark Noise says from the Netherlands, I wish everyone good health. Please stay inside and take care, my friend. Dave Todd, nice to have you here. There's a guy on the ODXA page in Newfoundland that has a lot of long wires stretched out. And, Newfoundland being right next to the Atlantic really helps a lot. Ray Kelly, Algeria 252. Good one, as it's very powerful. Yeah, isn't that one like 1,000,000 watts? 1,000 kilowatts or something? Yes, I'll email you back, Kadarius. Don't worry. Benny Charbonnier, in terms of long wave, you only hear a few French and English stations here in the Netherlands. It is very boring. Yeah, it's not like before, there were a lot more to listen to also in long wave in the 80s and 90s. RFDXer says Radio Rebelde Cuba was here 2 nights ago on 530, 600, 670, 710, 770, 1180, 1620 in Southeast Colorado. I'm not sure, but I don't know if there's another ethnic station on 530 kilohertz, but about 2 weeks ago, I was hearing Radio Rebelde on 5:30. And I think it was Radio Rebelde, unless there's some other station in Spanish on 5:30. They've taught with a CB antenna for low frequencies, disconnect the outer screw ring and run just the center like a long wire. Nick, I damaged it. Damn drill hit the inductor. That's sad. Okay, we're doing the BNC connector to that thing. Yeah, sometimes you got to be careful and take your time for sure. Dark Noise says you should get a cable DX5000 V6 CB and beam towards Europe. Sorry, Mason. Alex Jones impression. Oh, man. Joey says, Brother Stair claiming he will stream his gatherings. Oh, God. Please. Cooliam Radio wants to know if anyone can receive 6205 laser hot hits borrowed from Ireland. I was hearing nothing a little earlier. Yes, Alex Jones' imitations are very hard. John Bolton, voice of the report of the week. What else do we have? Yes, he does buy a lot of time, several shortwave broadcasters. David Zientara. Kenneth Cavins. Hey, Kevin. Nice to have you here, Kenneth. KD9HWR. Dark Noise says you have to take it easy with buying. Want to sell some radio, maybe? Well, right now, I'm okay. I'm one of the lucky ones. We'll see. Ricardo Silva from Portugal. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? John McShane, what don't you believe? Well, there's Cooliam Radio. I've talked about it in the past where I do have a personal opinion of stations should not be broadcasting Brother Stair, but brings a lot of cash for them, so they still continue. Rufus says it was 14 Celsius at 1 p.m. local. Now it's 0. Minus 16 here overnight. Crazy weather. Yep. Phil Eggtree, nice to have you here. Texan S2000 is okay. It's an okay radio. It overloads easily, but it's not bad of a radio itself. Catalan, we will soon lose contact with Voyager. Why are we not sending a repeater? And how come that in space the RF does not get attenuated? The RF does get attenuated. RFs, any radio signal sent out, like in space, is every time the distance from what you're listening to doubles, the signal is 4 times weaker. So the Voyager spacecraft is so far away, they have to use some extreme computer processing to get that little weak signal out of the noise. And the reason we're going to lose Voyager signal is not because it's too far away or anything. It's because its onboard nuclear power generator is now not giving enough power. So in the next few years, at some point, the power will be too weak for it to be able to use its transmitter. So we're going to lose contact because there's not enough power. The Voyager has been gone for more than 40 years. So, it's already amazing that 40 years later still works. But they knew that we, somewhere in the year 2025 around that the generator will not actually have enough power for it to continue working. Bob says, "You rock, Jill. Greetings from Massachusetts. Drake R8B will soon be attached to a quality antenna." Cool. Nice receiver. Bill Mead, nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? William says, relay of Coast FM 6230. Darkness Ainel here in Montreal, getting any activity on the military airband 230 to 390 is pretty much zero. The only activity I've ever heard was when there was that big air base in the state of New York, in Plattsburgh, New York. And I would hear the jets when they were in the air. But since that closed down many years ago, I've never heard any military activity because we're very far from all of that here. I don't live near a military base. So I've not heard any military stuff in a long time. Keegan says Thursday night had FMDX stations from Texoma, Texas, and Oklahoma State. Wow. Probably some sporadic ESCAP happening. Kevin Jane Apollo says that he received 5025 Radio Rebelde Spanish March 9th. Good areas. How do I get the free sample to Canadian D Club publication? CIDXclub@yahoo.com. So CIDXclub@yahoo.com. And ask for a sample copy. Neil Toombs, nice to have you here from the UK. M0CJM. Dana F, nice to have you here. So I just put the email, CIDXclub@yahoo.com. You'll get that publication, and you can subscribe. Mark Elford, you're welcome at my place anytime in Victoria. The West Coast is far different than shortwave listening. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do get a lot more 25, 40 meter listening during day and lower frequencies after midnight. Oh, the extra says the other station on 530 kilohertz medium wave is also from Cuba. It is Radio Encyclopedia. So maybe I was listening to Cuba. Radio Encyclopedia, because it was pretty strong. I did look at what was on 5:30, and I could not really get a match of anything from Canada, US. So I thought maybe I am getting a Cuban station. Yep, in the east, when the more you get to the East Coast, the more difficult it gets to get stations from Asia. Jerry DX, I need to start selling food buckets. Buy a food bucket, and you will have a shortwave radio free of charge. Zanzibar, nice to have you here. Where are you located? That maybe is what I was listening to. CHLO in Brampton, Ontario, with Sheldon. So that's probably what, because I know there was one multi-ethnic station in that low frequency range. So that's why I thought maybe I'm receiving like a local one. For some reason, I didn't see it on the list. When does the A20 season start? It starts next Sunday, March the 29th. March 29th, next Sunday, not this Sunday, next week is the A20 season starting. And you can already see the HFCC public files on hfcc.org. Take care, PLF Radio. WC had to move the setup to the basement. Only option for my long wire antenna I can think of is to run it out my window and along a metal fence. Kind of new to shortwave. Any issue with doing that? If you run a wire near a metal fence, there will be some interaction. So there, but you know what? The best is try it. Just try it. And it's weird what can happen at times and how you can all of that can be just amazing sometimes with for we don't even understand why. Try it. Corn Patch DX, bring back the Rock of the World WRNO. That'd be nice. Chemex Z76. Oh god. Darius can pick up CHHA 1610 from Canada in Texas. On the air now, Yay Man Radio on 6925. Let's check it out. Not hearing anything on 6925 right now. Danny, Shortwave Radio DX. Nice to have you here. Simon Templar, nice to have you on board. Keegan, thinking of connecting an antenna with a 75 ohm coaxial connector on at least one end of my Ethon Gredig edition. So yeah, why not? Check it out. Could improve reception. Professor Newt, Radio Romania, coming in on 6170, 7375. That's a pretty good in general. Hans, nice to have you here. EA5 ITG. John McClure, nice to have you here. David Martin, I think the Borg will assimilate Voyager before the batteries run out. If you guys want to laugh your head off and you like kind of science fiction-ish stuff, HBO has a series called Avenue 5. It's a Instead of a cruise ship, it's a space cruise ship. So it's a vessel in space, and what happens is they're supposed to be gone for like a couple of weeks, and something happens, and now they're stuck there for 3 years. And it's I mean, I laugh my head off at every episode. There's so much funny stuff in there. It's just crazy. The Blind Picker, nice to have you on board from Connecticut, W0RAB. So Blind Ham. Got a couple of blind people that including Elizabeth and Regina, that enjoy our hobby. So at least there's something interesting with the hobby and talking and meeting up with talking to people. Yep, JRDX. But the runtime of generators were 25 years, but the electronics and all the technology was not expected to last that long. Larry, nice to have you here. Comfortably numb in Georgia. That's pretty far away, Robert, eh? Buen amigo, ¿cómo está from Barcelona? Hope you're not too things are not too intense over there in Barcelona with the situation. Simon Templar, have you listened to 11175? I haven't listened to one of the frequencies for the U.S. Global Command in a little while. Could be interesting. I don't know if there's more activity lately. Echidarius picked up 5130 WBCQ, but it was very weak. You got to go and listen to the hair frequencies for UHF, Jerry DX. RTF Droney, nice to have you here. Where are you located? Echidarius, tropical stations I can pick up at night 4055, which is Guatemala. 4785, 5010, 5025, 5040. Radio Lens, nice to have you on board from Vancouver. Been watching your channel for a while. Are you in a detached home? What kind of external antennas do you use? No, this is a 6-apartment building that is actually stuck on another 6-apartment building, but the rest of the street is little houses. And I run MLA30 loop antennas in the front balcony. I live on the top floor here, which is the 3rd floor-ish. And so I actually have 2 MLA30 loops in the front and a W6LVP loop also. I have a sloper in the backyard that I don't use much because it's too noisy. It's quite a noisy location, but making the best of it. And pretty much smack in the middle of the city of Montreal. Kevin Miles, thinking about getting an ICOM 746 Pro for a shortwave receiver with the possibility of obtaining a ham radio license later down the road. What do you think? You're going to get a great shortwave radio. And at the same time, you'll already have their transceiver for, when you get your license. So it's a great idea, actually. Yeah, for 765. Okay. Radio there's one of the Cubans also. Radio Progresso. William Moser, nice to have you here. Joseph has nothing on 6925 in the West Coast. Jerry says, we're going to get through this one beer and frequency at a time. Catalan says, only I'm able to run FT8, RSP1A on RSP Pi. Cool. Do I notice any computer-generated QRM on your SDR radios via USB cables? It depends on the computer that I use, and it depends on the SDR that I use. I'm fortunate that my SDR is running on a Toshiba laptop that is very quiet, and it doesn't seem to do a lot of noise. But depending on the laptop and the power supply that's attached to it or the computer, it's different. Depends on the SDR also. SDR play devices seem to be quieter than, for example, the RTL SDR that I've used a few times. So it depends, but there are some laptops and some computers that are worse than others for the noise generated, for sure. For sure. What's Paul the cat doing? Probably sleeping somewhere. He came in. I thought he was going to come and jump on me, and you guys are going to be there. But, you know, he went out. He didn't stop by. Radio Lens. Ramon Hi from Vancouver. Been watching your channel. Cool. One amigo. It's complicated. Yeah. It's getting complicated here, too. Really getting complicated here, too. And what else do we have? Trying to get down. Avenue 5, Matambali. Avenue 5. Keegan says my FMDX reception Fort Worth regions is Tropo. Okay. Yeah, you can get some tropospheric stuff too. Absolutely. KC9KUH. A little bit of something on 6925. No problem, radio lens. Simon Templar, look at the IC 7300 instead of IC 746 Pro. New, the 7300 goes for $979, and there's a $100 rebate right now. I hear a lot of good things also about this 7300. It seems to be an amazing transceiver. David in Barcelona, nice to have you here, my friend. Nicodarius says cats are independent and rule the house. Fast load, nice to have you here from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So Coolium is receiving 6925 on a web radio USA. You're watching the Shortwave radio show, and we are live. Russ Gladden, nice to have you here from Ottawa. And let's check out pirates. Anything in the pirate activity sphere? HF Underground. Anything here? Shortwave pirate. So Yeman Radio reported. That's pretty much it right now. So anything else? Let's check out. We're at 22. Any 49 meter bands has a little bit of frequencies of stuff happening. Sorry, guys. It's not coronavirus. Don't worry. Mali is weak. Mali on 5995. Hearing CFRX on 6070. 6115 WWCR. Pretty good. What is that music on 6175? 6175. We are 2210. There's China Radio International in Portuguese. China National Radio 1 also is there. So there seems to be an opening on 49 meters to Asia right now. So 6175, not too bad. S9 coming from probably from China. This is weird. Oh, okay, it stopped. That's why. I was wondering why my MLA30, one of my MLA30s that had no signal. It was not plugged in. Here we go. This definitely is Chinese music, so it's interesting. I'm hearing either CNR1 or China Radio direct from China on 6175. That's not bad. That means 49 meters is open to Asia right now. Kevin Miles, thanks for the tip on the 7300. Yeah, pretty much everybody pretty much agrees that for a transceiver, if you're looking for a transceiver, good transceiver, for price versus performance, the ICOM 7300 is hard to beat. It's kind of that, like I say, the ICOM ICR30 portable is a crappy radio, but at the other end, the IC 7300 transceiver is an amazing radio for the price. Mad Boy, nice to have you here. Jerry DX has the pirate on 6925, which is Yemen Radio. Hey, one amigo. No, it's more of a, it's too dry in here. And when I talk a lot, I tend to lose my voice at some point. Actually, William Moser, two non-directional beacons can even be on the same frequency and interfere with each other. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've had that a few times. I remember one frequency a long time ago where I would hear it just wow, there's so much more interference suddenly. What the hell's happening? So oh, look at that. It's the power. I think the battery pack that I have isn't working well. So I was hearing a Canadian non-directional beacon and an American one on the different on the same frequency. And the reason the way that I could differentiate them is that very often you had some difference in the tone. US NDBs and Canadian NDBs had a different tone, so you could see that it was not the same for the country, which was nice. Fastload says that's why I got the FT991A shack in the box. Rufus Newt, best CFRX. Lost it somewhere. Best CFRX. Look, EC9 KUH has 6175 S6. I lost the post here. Rufus said the best CFRX reception in a long time. Terry Cook, nice to have you here. KF7BQ. Manboy says definitely some generic Chinese music. No, it doesn't sound Fire Dragon. Fire Dragon is like definitely very high, kind of drums and all sorts of things. Yeah, but the problem, Sheldon, is that the Albania relay is down and it's still not back up. So I believe this is probably because here the two Chinese broadcasts from like China Radio 2223 in Portuguese normally says from the Xinjiang transmitter side in China, and the other one, China National Radio, that one is always near Beijing, and it has that definite very fast flutter that we often get from Asian stations. So this really seems to be an opening from Asia right now in 49-meter band. Because I mean, even 6020, if I click 6020, it's actually the same thing on 6020, but it's weaker. So 6020, let's check out 6020. It's the same thing, same music, but it's weaker on 6020. And here it says it's China Radio International. And at 21 to 23, it says S. I don't know what transmitter side that is. S. But I'm pretty sure that these are coming from China, by the way it is. Because the Cerik, Cherik, I don't know how you pronounce it, Cerik Albania Relay, has never come back since the earthquake they had in Albania. The Albania Relay has not come back. And actually, the only relays we get right now from China Radio are the ones from Cuba. David Martin says, after the storm front passed late yesterday afternoon, very bright full rainbow formed. First rainbow I'd seen in years. Then I had a great radio reception. The rainbows improve radio propagation. On shortwave bands, in general, weather has pretty much no effect. If VHF, UHF frequencies can have some weather-related propagation effects, but on the lower frequencies, like shortwave, medium wave, weather has pretty much no effect at all. It's mostly a coincidence that the bands were good at the same time that you had a rainbow. You got to be careful. It's easy to make a I remember in the 80s listening to Radio Moscow. I remember the frequency was 11840, and I remember that Radio Moscow was coming in well a few times, and it was raining outside, and I had in my head made a assumption that when it rains, signals are better. But in reality, it was just because it's like that. But by coincidence, propagation was better on these days because there were some days that it was not raining, and the propagation and the signals were still there. There, Nigel Lawrence. Nice to have you on board from England. WF7I Homebrew is testing his homemade tri-band direct conversion radio. Wow. Mad Boy says exactly, a lot more bombastic. It's actually quite mellow. Yeah, this is kind of, enjoyable Chinese music somehow. I'd hear that at, I don't know, a Chinese buffet. We've got Radio Nacional Amazona, and it's on 6180. There's some Chinese on 6185. What is that on 6185 in Chinese? Mandarin. Oh, Radio Vatican Radio. Vatican Radio to the Far East in Mandarin. So that probably comes from the Vatican State. Vatican Radio. You could see here that's how often I will distinguish where a signal comes from. For example, that signal from Vatican, which is in Europe, is much more stable. There's slight fades, but it's much more stable. Where we tune 6175, the Chinese music, it has a very fast flutter in it. It's really up and down very, very fast. That often, except for when there's geomagnetic storming, that often is a way of seeing a signal that is coming from Asia, like transpolar signal or something. So it's probably coming from Asia. V3KRP Fast Eddie, nice to have you here. What else do we have? WF7I, actually even CW quite busy now, and lots of activity on the amateur bands, I can tell you that. Yeah, Liam, I'm pretty sure I've heard a few times of some people out there that use the Texan S2000. What else do we have? Keegan somewhere in 14200s. I heard someone in New Jersey and someone in Barbados talking yesterday evening. I was listening, and there was a lot of stuff on. There's a lot of Caribbean, Central America, and South American hams yesterday on 20 meters. Catalin says I've contacted WW1 WW from New Hampshire on FT8. That's cool. Hey, Kevin Wood from Nova Scotia. Nice to have you here. Yeah, that is a great, great resource. Anybody that wants, and thanks for sharing, Cool AM. You know what? In these times, it's time to read Radio Communications Magazine.ml that he just shared. It's amazing. You get a lot of stuff, and there's old stuff in there. There's also the other one, American Radio History website. American Radio History website. You've got thousands of magazines of all kinds, but including a lot of magazines, radio communications. What I particularly like is to download the magazines from 1940s and read these 1940s articles and talk about radios and stuff. It's amazing, and it's nice because it gives you a ton of things to read for free, and it's really, really cool. You have all the popular communications. They're all there. Northwest News got the Satellite 750. Many issues, but he still loves it. There are radios that drive us mad in the way that they are. Um, um, the fact that some radios, I have a couple here that there's glitches on the radio that drive me a little nuts, but I still love it. The CountyCom GP5 SSB. That radio drives you nuts trying to get to a frequency, no keypad, and super difficult to get to that frequency. And don't forget alkaline batteries in it, because if you don't use it for 2 months, your batteries are dead. Little things that drive you mad. But still, you know what? I love the darn little radio. I find it really nice. I like the form factor. The easy tuning mode is great. But it's crazy. I still love it, even though a lot of people would say, well, that's junk. Shouldn't be like that. I still love it. There are little radios like that you will accept some faults for some reason. Sometimes you can't explain it. Sometimes it's just, I like the radio. Okay, why? I can't explain it. I just love it. It's all. And there are radios like that. Like there are radios you really hate, and you're like, wow, this I just can't. I've had a couple of shortwave radios over the years that they were okay, but it was like, no, I want to have something else. Coolium Radio's got the Satellite 700. Brian Penny, only 66 thumbs up with 160 watching. What gives? Come on, guys. Check my phone, apparently. What do we have? 20 meters. Okay, let's go to 14,200. So 14,200 seems clear. Oh, wait. Nope. $14,210. Nope, not even. Wait. Yep. No. Well, something really close to it. Okay, 14,215, Mickey. 14,215 seems quiet. Banana Bread Pictures. Banana Bread Pictures. So I'm on 14,215. What else do we have? Andy Packrat. Take care, my friend. We're going to try that, 7290. Oh, what the hell is that? That was this weird thing happening here. I haven't had that in a long time. Linux DOS. I use the Greenix Satellite 750 now that it has had the audio board repaired. I think it is the same as the Texan S2000. Not a bad receiver. This is weird. Look at that. I get some kind of cross modulation weird thing happening. Old Radio Man. The glitchy radio I have is a COM radio CR1A. VFO stalls a bit if you tune too quickly, but the overall radio works very well. Jerry Markkanen, nice to have you on board from Finland. Catalan, speaking of radios, in the end, C-Crane has better reception, looks better than the XH data. Would run also USB for FT8. Honestly, they're the same on reception. C-Crane isn't better. It's the same as the XH data on reception. Pretty much, these are pretty much the same radio. As for the looks, it's really a question of very, very personal. Look at that, guys. This is so weird. Something is making my MLA30 go nuts. This is so weird. This is so weird. So there's a lot of it that is a personal question, honestly. Of the looks of a radio is personal. I like the looks of both radios. I like the audio of the XH data better. No, I like the looks of the XH data better, and in general, the audio of the XH data is better than the one from C-Crane. Simplio, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. Yeah, it's a personal question, Linux DOS. A lot of people, I'd be the guy probably doing a little digital modes, but I'd be the guy that probably wants to talk more than anything else on the handbands. HK1X from Colombia on 14201, says Matt. Good night, René Charbonnier. Take care, my friends. Oh, yeah, that can happen. Rain and humidity making the power poles noisy, that can happen. Mad Boy can get the Chinese signal inside his apartment on the PL380. Cool. Oh, yeah, air travel is totally 7570, isn't that I got a very, very weak signal here, barely audible. 7570. Someone testing an EMP gun. A lot of weird stuff tonight. Everyone is home. Yeah. I have no idea, Liam, for the Texan S2000. Fast Teddy, V3KRP made contact with KX4MT in South Carolina on 14215. No one else heard. Kevin Wood as Martinique, 14197. Cool AM radios is 6270 AM music traces. Yes, I actually shared the link earlier. If you buy from the place I bought on eBay, you get the MLA30 Plus right now. It says the seller says that since February 1st, The only one that he's sending out are MLA 30 pluses. So if you buy it from the eBay seller that I actually used. In general, everything below 10 megahertz is better at night. Everything above 10 is better in the daytime, but it's not as clear cut as that. There's a transition zone throughout the day that you can have. Icadarius used to read the magazine Popular Communications and read the medium wave and shortwave columns. So, simply, no, 20 meters has DX, a lot of DX. 20 meters is one of the bands. When the upper bands like 10 or 15 are not open, 20 meters is my go-to for a lot of DX, including 40. 40 meters also at night. But there's more activity. We see that people are at home. Actually, a guy from Saint Martin yesterday was saying that they're kind of locked down, and he was just at home doing ham radio stuff. Linux DOS. I heard some really strange stuff around 7300. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. Mickey Damage says too much action for a clear frequency. Let's see if I can hear 6925. Can't really say I'm hearing 6925. The eBay link, do I still have it? Boop. Yeah, here you go. This is where I purchased mine. This is the eBay link. Oh, maybe it's not. Yeah, it is. MLA 30. It doesn't say plus there, but that seller is selling only MLA 30 pluses right now. So, hey guys, we've been on for 2 hours and 36. I am going to go and eat some lunch because I have to prepare myself for a little recording of a show called the International Radio Report a little later with Sheldon. So that means that, of course, I will need to prepare all of that also. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't forget, we're here twice a week. Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 0 UT. And Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 20 hours UT. Take care, my friends. And if everything goes well, there will be an International Radio Report show that will be airing on CKUT on Sunday morning at 14:30 UTC. So take care, my friends, and stay safe wherever you are. Listen to that radio. Listen to all the DX and everything that is in there. And hope to see you next week. And thanks once again for all the birthday wishes. And really nice to have all of you here. Take care, my friends.